TIFU by sleeping in. I, 17F, have an older sister, 25F, who has 2 boys, 2 and 6 years old, that I take care of Monday to Friday from 6:45 a.m. to 5 p.m. When I first started taking care of them, I would wake up at 6 a.m. and make sure that they would have something to eat when they got here. But as the days went on, my sister got consistently later in the times she would drop them off. I have always had sleeping issues. Normally only sleeping every other day and only for about 5 to 6 hours a night. It was rounding midnight and I was still on call with my boyfriend and decided that it would be fine if I stayed up a little later because of how late my sister had been arriving. I'll admit, I stayed up later than I should have. Around 4 a.m., which caused me to sleep through my alarms at 8:11 a.m. I was woken up by my father, 45M, coming into my room very angry, and he started yelling at me after giving me a firm hit. It had been years since he hit me last and he has become a much calmer person. He left my room saying, "If you ever do that again it will be much worse." Due to his threat and him hitting me, I was not in the most stable mindset and I made my way downstairs to where my mom, 45F, was coloring with the 2-year-old at the table. My mom also made them breakfast. My mom smiled at me and said, "I am so sorry you got yelled at," to which I replied, "Yelled at? I got hit." And her face dropped. She kept asking me if I was okay and I just broke down crying and excused myself from the dining room to go into the bathroom. Once I came out of the bathroom, my mom stormed into our home office and yelled at my dad for what seemed like forever while I tried to not cry in front of my nephew. After about 3 hours, my dad came into the den and stood over me and said, "I'm sorry if what I did was excessive," and that was it. I don't know why it hurt so much that is what he said to me. But I am crying right now as I type it out. I ended up texting my boyfriend after my dad said that, and all I said was, "Well, my dad hit me." He was still asleep at that point and my sister started texting me too, and I told her I didn't wanna tell her and that it was between my dad, mom and I, but she wouldn't drop it and I eventually gave in and told her. Hours later, around 5:25 p.m., my sister came to pick up her kids and she wanted to talk about it more, and I started cracking jokes about it because it's how I cope. I know I shouldn't have made jokes. I really do. But I just couldn't stand crying anymore. She eventually snapped and said, "You know what? It's making me so pissed that you are making jokes about this, when it literally doesn't even matter." Another stab to the heart. Once she left, I went to my room and talked to my boyfriend, who told me to just drop it. I gave him a hell of a lot more detail than anyone. I then started texting him my thoughts and trying to put it all together as to what I did wrong to deserve that, and he called me stupid and told me that he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. So I went downstairs again and talked to my mom, who I found out is also not talking to my dad. I hadn't been either. I began to apologize to her. I don't even know what for. Just why doesn't it make sense? Eventually, later on in the night, I was getting some water and my dad walked in and I flinched. I didn't mean to at all, but I did, and I think I'm ruining my family and relationships and I don't know what to do. I'm scared to sleep. I'm scared to lay in my bed because what if I do fall asleep? I don't want to find out what's worse. I don't know what to do. TLDR. I slept in, which caused my dad to get mad, and then I ruined all of my relationship with the people who I was close with. Why does your family expect a teenager to basically have a full-time babysitting job when your parents are also at home? A terrible experience, and you don't deserve to have that happen to you. You are definitely not deserving of what went down. But on a related issue, I have always had sleeping issues. Normally only sleeping every other day and only for about 5 to 6 hours a night. Talk to a doctor about it. Really not okay. Please get rid of your BFOMFG. This is not your fault. Sleeping in can happen to anyone. And it seems you are already predisposed. Get that checked out ASAP. It's probably not healthy. There are people who just have an unnormal sleep pattern. But very rare. Seems like your dad didn't even take part in caring for his grandchildren. So I don't get what he's mad about in the first place. Regardless, hitting you and making threats to more is not okay, and not your fault at all. If you and your mom cannot cope with this, you should think about getting professional help. Not saying call the police right away, but there are other options for counsel. Your sister should not brush it off but worry that dad might hit her children. 2. If he has a history of violent behavior, maybe remind her of this. Your boyfriend is stupid. Period. Why are you taking care of your sister's children full-time? You're still underage and should probably be in school? Or are you paid for babysitting? Helping out your sister is nice of you, but not 12 hours a day 5 days a week. That's probably not good for you, and you should collectively look for another arrangement. Why are you looking after these kids? You need to talk to a doctor about the sleep and possibly a referral for a counselor to help you. Tell the difference between your mistakes and your dad's struggle with his anger. They are separate. You do not need to own other people's problems. You are not the source. They have other things going on causing their behavioral issues that are 100% unrelated to you, my friend. Don't give up hope, please. And be honest about everything with your doctor. What is the point of a boyfriend if when at one of your lowest moments he is just going to insult you? Good on your mom for yelling at him and protecting you. God knows mine never did. You haven't done a thing wrong. You're NTA. You got hit for oversleeping for 2 hours. Your dad is TA. And so is your boyfriend and sister TBH. No dad should be putting his hands on his daughter. If my dad ever hit my sister, I think my mom would probably kill him. Stop babysitting for your sister. Hit your dad back with a baseball bat the next time he lays hands on you. You didn't do anything wrong. I can't imagine hitting my daughter for anything. None of the reactions you got from your father, sister or boyfriend are acceptable in that situation. What your father did is abuse and battery. I understand you're young, but move out when you can. I had to make the same decision for the same reasons when I was a couple years older than you. I joined the military to get out of my home. Your mom sounds like the only one that may be normal in this situation. But it also sounds like she's seen it before. None of this is your fault. If you are 17, you are less than a year from getting out of that situation. Find a job, stack some cash, and get out of there. He ruined the relationship by hitting you, not you. You're good. Get out of there as soon as you can. Less than 3. Everyone here is an asshole except for you and your mom. Refuse to babysit anymore. Let her find a babysitter. Now. You are her slave until then. And she clearly needs to pay for valuable services. Because until then, she will remain entitled to your slavery. This is not your fault. Like others said, give your sister a deadline for finding a real babysitter. You could look up childcare rates in your area. You are literally saving her thousands of dollars. And she doesn't care that your dad hit you? Gross. Dump your boyfriend. He insulted you after you were trying to cope with being physically and verbally abused. A good boyfriend would have listened to you and provided emotional support. I know you guys are young. But a simple, wow, that sucks. Are you okay? You really didn't deserve that. Would have been so much better than calling you stupid. The only person who seems to be on your side is your mom. It might be better if both you and your mom approach your sister about finding an actual babysitter. That way she can't just brush you off. Remember, her kids are not your responsibility. Amazon has doorstops, locks meant to attach to doors to keep someone from opening it on the outside. If that would make you feel safer, it might be worth investing in one of those. Sorry if this is a lot. You're too young to have to work 12-hour babysitting shifts and then go straight to work at your actual job. That's not normal. Also, why are you your sister's FT daycare? Are you being compensated? Your mother seems to be the only other person in your family with their head on straight. Adults sleep in and miss work sometimes, but they don't get hit by their boss because of it. It's extremely important that you know that you were undeserving of what your father did. I am guessing the boyfriend won't be around much longer. And if he is, the relationship won't be pretty. I think it's time you started making exit plans for your house and your relationship. Sometimes things happen to us and we know they are just not right. It makes us feel uncomfortable to face them. But if it happens to you, it is difficult to let it go. If it happens to someone we love, it's more comfortable to ignore. Your dad should not have hit you, and sorry if is not an apology. I struggle to forgive people who do not seek forgiveness. So you are now in an awkward and uncomfortable situation not of your making. I would suggest talking with your mom. Let her know that you realize she can't fix it, but hearing yourself explain how you feel out loud, without someone being dismissive, can help your mind to cope with the feeling of injustice. Edit to add. If you ever talk to your dad about it, ask him what his reaction would have been if it were your boyfriend who assaulted you for sleeping in.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.